welcome to Japji Sahib Pauri 8. It's a very interesting Pauri. It speaks about the art of listening. So before we make an attempt to understand this art of listening, let's first go through the Pauri. Pauri 8. सुनिए सिद्ध पीर सुरनाथ, सुनिए धरत धवल आकाश, सुनिए दीप लौ पाताल, सुनिए पोहि न सकै काल। नानक भगता सदा विकास, सुनिए दुख पाप का नाश. The word suniye is by listening. Now, what is the meaning of listening? By listening, before we even go into the meaning of the Pauri, first we have to understand this word suniye or listening. Mahavir had laid down a few paths to enlightenment, and one of them was the path of the Shravaka or Shravika. Shravaka is the one who just listens, understands, and attains enlightenment just by listening. Yeah. Shravika is obviously the female of Shravaka. You would say, how can one attain enlightenment or awakening just by listening? We have been listening to discourses all our lives and nothing has happened. Absolutely no change. The same anger, the same jealousy, the same hatred, the same greed, the same nonsensical drama is still going on in the mind. And look at this person who can attain enlightenment or awakening through just listening. The Shravaka or Shravika attains awakening just through listening. Yes. Some people have been carrying this spiritual karma from the past life. In the past lives, they must have done a lot of practices to get to that point, which was like right at the door. They've done everything possible, and then they kicked the bucket in the previous lifetime. They did not attain the highest. So in this lifetime, it doesn't matter whether they meet spirituality when they are children or when they are adults. Whenever they meet spirituality, the first thing they hear sends a signal to that sleeping samskar, which is there deep inside them. That sleeping samskar wakes up, and that again inculcates the thirst, the spiritual thirst in them. And just by listening, it's like the previous sleeping samskaras become alive. This Shravaka or Shravika, just by listening, he understands not only intellectually, but he applies it and experientially understands it. And it starts becoming a part of his life. And very slowly but surely he attains awakening just by listening. So it's not an exaggeration that just by listening you can attain awakening. This entire body is about the art of listening and how this Shravaka or Shravika really listens and what is the meaning of listening. So, what does it mean really? And why is it that we who have been listening for such a long time to so many discourses have not attained that highest place or the highest truth yet? Why do we not listen properly? Number one, when we listen, we absorb and retain only 20%. 80% of what we listen to is lost. Why is it lost? Because we like to retain only that which conforms to our beliefs, to our previous understanding, and to our own way of thinking. If something seems new or different from our way of thinking, or new or different from our beliefs, we want to set it aside. We don't really listen with an open mind. We only listen to that which we want to listen to. Do you understand this? Yeah. Many times I say something in a talk, it completely agrees with you, you smile, you say, yes, yes, this is correct. What have you learned from it? Nothing. You already knew it. It already conformed to your previous belief or concept or idea. So basically, in this process, if you retain only that which you already know, what is the effect of it? You have not learned anything new. Why? Because that which does not conform to you, what do you do to it? You set it aside. No, no, Ekta is saying this for somebody else. It does not apply to me. Don't we do that? This knowledge is maybe for somebody else. We filter out that which does not conform to our ego, which does not conform to our past beliefs and ideas, and we lose out in this bargain. Yeah. Homework number one for you. Catch yourself whenever you do that. Catch yourself. Because if you continue to do that, you will not learn anything new and you will not be able to transform yourself. Second part of that homework is look closely what is it that is not ready to listen in you. Most of you will come to this answer that it is the ego. The ego resists transformation. The ego resists change. The ego is super happy being the way it is. Oh, I am perfect. I don't need to change. Everybody outside, they all need to change. They need to be better individuals. But me, oh, I'm perfect. I'm good. You see? Yes, this is the attitude of the ego. And the ego does not let you transform by absorbing absolutely new ideas that were not previously a part of your belief or concepts or idea system. Become aware of this limitation of your own self and break that limitation. Listen with an open mind. Then only do you really listen. This is the first reason why we have lost out on real listening that Nanak speaks about. What is the second? The second reason why we have lost out on the art of listening is because our mind, the subconscious part of the mind. Now, there is a conscious level of the mind and there is a subconscious level of the mind. The subconscious level of the mind is in the hands of this ego. And because this ego does not like to listen to that which is new or transformational or different from my past beliefs and concepts, the subconscious mind shuts down. It closes its doors. When the subconscious mind closes its door, the conscious mind starts feeling very sleepy. Yes, so you must have noticed when you go to a discourse, you feel very sleepy. You yawn a lot. Yeah. You would say, oh, maybe I overate today. That is why there is a part of my mind that is not listening. You might be very interested in the topic, but a part of your mind is pulling you into Tandra. Tandra is sleep. It's pulling you into sleep. It's not letting you keep your eyes and ears open and aware. Notice that this is also a little trick of the mind because it is not interested in transforming itself. You may not go to sleep really, yeah, but sitting here you are not aware. So many people sleep with their eyes open, yeah. It's just that they are not aware, they are not in the present moment. When you are not aware, listening cannot happen. If this moment I were to switch off this discourse and turn on a very interesting romantic movie, see what happens. The doors of that closed subconscious mind will open up, the conscious mind will feel all awake and super aware and will be completely focused on that romantic film. Yeah? All that sleep has vanished. So, this is a mechanism of the subconscious mind. Wake up and realize that your subconscious mind does it to you. And when you realize, you can become a master of the subconscious mind. Yeah? That is also a skill that one can develop on the path just by being aware. Nothing else is required. A sharpness of awareness can weaken the tricks of the subconscious mind. The third obstacle for developing the art of listening is self talk. When I am speaking right now, you have come to attend this session. There is really no need for you to go on speaking inside your mind. There is no need of self talk, correct? But there is self talk, isn't it? We need to realize that self talk has become an addictive habit. And first, you must realize where this self talk habit has started. In the early humans, when language was not developed, they used to speak through signs. Slowly, language came up from the sounds that they could hear from each other's mouths. Very soon there was structure to language, words were formed, and that's how language was developed. The purpose of language development is communication with others. You do not need a language to communicate with yourself. And the path of awakening, or the path of enlightenment, or the spiritual path, that path is inwards. It is for developing a connection with your own self. So these two paths are opposite. Language is a bridge between me and the outside world. This bridge of communication is required for me to live a successful materialistic life with all friends and family and colleagues or peers. But there is a limitation when it comes to a connection with me, an internal connection. I do not need these words. This can completely be shut off. Silence is the only bridge that will connect me inwards towards my inner self. So wake up and realize that these two are separate paths. This path is of sound and this path is of silence. If you try to take sound onto the path of silence, you are bound to fail. There is no success there. That is why you cannot meditate. You sit to meditate, and what happens? Self talk begins. Why does it begin? Because this communication, which was just a means of communicating with the world, became a robotic habit, an automatic habit. And you just kept talking to yourself. And you just don't plainly speak to yourself. Before you're going to speak to somebody outside, you revise what you are going to say to him at least a million times. You speak outside just once after that million revisions. And after you speak once, you again sit and revise. Maybe I should have used these words, maybe not these words. I said this like this, maybe my tone was like this. You go on and on and on. There is so much self talk behind one sentence that you actually said through your lips. Recognize this, you are constantly doing self talk. If you are constantly talking, how will you listen to me? The ego in you has made you believe that you don't need it. If you already have attained awakening, if you already know the highest truth, if you already are all knowing, why are you listening to this? Why are you here? Wake up, wake up. Self talk is not healthy. Self talk is not normal. Just because your friend does it, and just because your sibling does it, and just because your colleagues and family members and spiritual friends do it, it is not the tag of normal. The difference between a crazy person on the street and you is only that of volume. His volume is up, your volume is down. Both are equally insane. Wake up and realize this, that your self talk is one of the biggest obstacle on your path. It does not let you listen. If this has become very clear, now we can go into Pauri 8 and understand what is the meaning of real listening and what does listening really do. Suniye Siddh Peer Surnath. By listening, you become a Siddha. A Siddha is the one who is awakened, who attains the first level of enlightenment, and get certain yogic powers. He is called a Siddha. He is not fully enlightened yet, but he has dipped into that beautiful lake of enlightenment once at least. So, just by listening, you become a Siddha. Just by listening, you get that first dip into the lake of awakening or into the lake of enlightenment. How? When you purely listen, consciously listen with awareness, there is no background noise here. There is no background sound here that is interrupting. You are fully there. So, in between two words or two sentences, there is a gap. In that gap, you are completely in the moment. And there are no thoughts here. So, when there are no thoughts here and you are in the present moment in this gap, you touch shunyata. All spiritual teachings are targeted towards this one simple thing, to pull you into shunyata. Shunyata means zero mind, no mind, where there is no thought. The first experience of no thought is a very melting kind of feeling. Everything is just relaxing through your entire body mind complex. You will see your brain relax. You will experience relaxation as if you are melting like an ice cube. This is that first sensation of just being in no mind, in zero mind, in shunyata, in that gap between two words, the gap between two thoughts. Can you get there now? Dropping each and every thought in this pause. Letting that absolute silence just pull you in. You dissolve in it like a sugar grain melting, melting in the ocean of bliss. Zero mind, no thoughts. This is pure listening. When you become a master of listening like this, when unnecessary words don't go on and on and on and on in the back of your mind, when words are just a tool, you use them and then you put them aside when not required. Then you take that first dip into the silent lake of Nibbana or awakening or enlightenment. The journey is not over yet. Yeah? Of course, you will now have to work on reversing this habit of self talk. You have recognized that self talk is the one that is really the cause of all this restlessness inside me, is the cause of unhappy thoughts and not happy emotions inside me. When you recognize this as a fact, you understand, oh, it's not other people doing it to me, I am doing it to myself. When I decide that I'm going to stop self torture, self-talk also stops. Obviously, it's not going to happen overnight or by just listening to this video. You will have to work on yourself. And work on what? Just becoming aware that right now self-talk is going on. Don't say to yourself, stop the self-talk. Yeah, when you say, don't think about a monkey, what happens? You think about a monkey. So you cannot force yourself. You just become a witness, recognize, oh, again I am in self-talk. Now I take a step back and I don't add any more fuel to these thoughts. Let them expire. Because of past momentum, some thoughts will keep coming, trying to pull you in, trying to have a dialogue with you, trying to have an intelligent conversation with an intelligent individual. It's trying to pull me in. Yeah, but I decide I'm just going to be a witness. You smile and you let go of those. Again, let go. You keep observing them coming, their vasanatmak hands coming to pull you in, but you do not react to them. And slowly they start weakening. They lose their power on you and they die. Again, don't think you have won the battle. No. Another set of thoughts will come because you've made this a habit, right? Now you will have to go through the withdrawal effects of letting go of this bad habit. It's just like smoking or alcohol or drugs. It was the strongest drug for your mind. That drug is going to try to attract you again. You just smile and stay. I'm not going to react. I'm not going to lose my equanimity to these stupid, silly thoughts which are just fostering the need for self-talk and nothing else. And in the end, I'll become restless when I indulge in self-talk, and then I'll only feel horrible. So let me not be the cause of feeling horrible. And you see, they will start dying, dying, dying. You will have to keep doing this till you get over that stage of withdrawal. That stage can last a few months. That's the minimum, yes. A few months in some people. And in the weaker ones who don't work very hard on themselves, it can take years to get over. But self-talk is an addiction. Recognize this and work on getting beyond it. Self-talk is nothing but repeating the same thing. Have you noticed this also? You repeat the same thing to yourself again and again and again and again. And when you repeat the same thing, your mind gets bored of you only and then you go into sleep. So this is what happens to you, especially in a discourse. You are talking to yourself and you're talking the same things to yourself. So you're not really listening to the discourse. So wake up and realize this is what I have done to myself. By listening, I come into the shunyata. Here, listening itself, the word suni, listening, can be substituted by the word shunyata or zero mind. By attaining the zero mind, you become a siddha. By attaining the zero mind, you become a spiritual person or a spiritual teacher. That is the meaning of peer. Suranath, you become a warrior. What kind of warrior? A warrior who really is strong and does not give in to these thoughts that lure him away. Yeah, he is very strong on his determination of not reacting. Yeah? And you become a nath, a master, a yogic master. Yes, how? Just by being in this shunyata, in this shravan, in this Suniye or listening. Suniye dharat dhaval akash. By just listening, or by shunyata, by nothingness, by void, by zero mind, the earth and its support and the sky function. Basically, they all run in nothingness, in the void. This void drives everything. Now, what do they mean by this void? The same shunyata that you experience in between words, in between two breaths, that shunyata is that zero mind. Once you get established more and more and more in it, it will become very clearly apparent to you that everything is based in this shunyata. Everything is based in this zeroness, in this absolute silence. And this silence is the core of this creation. Everything functions because of it, including the earth and the sky. Suniye deep, lo patal. Just by this shunyata, or this zero, or this no mind, or this absolute void, or this silence, the oceans function, the lands function, and patal means the netherworld functions. Yeah, netherworld again does not mean really there is some world when you dig 10,000 or 20,000 feet under the earth. There is no netherworld down there. It just means that everything above and below, everything functions because of the void. Science has also come to this understanding that everything exists in space and everything runs because of space. The space has some kind of a power which is invisible to all our fantastic laboratory instruments. Of course, even our eyes cannot see this space or even comprehend the qualities of space. So, space or pure witnessing or shunyata or void or that gap in between words, that gap in between the breath is all the same thing. Huh? And you can attain that space, that no mind, that void, that nothingness. Only there can there be a state of complete bliss, which means, in other words, you have never tasted bliss. Attaining something material in this world, or eating your favorite ice cream and feeling that absolute happiness in the arms of your beloved is nothing, absolutely nothing, and absolutely petty compared to the real nectar of bliss of shunyata or the void. Suniye pohe na sakkai kal means even death cannot touch you once you are in shunyata. Means what? The witnessing consciousness, that which is in between two thoughts, two breaths, that void, that shunyata, where you are just a pure sakshi. You realize that you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are this witness who is listening to the brain comprehend Ekta's words right now. You are just a witness to this action happening right now by the body mind complex sitting in front of the computer. You are not that body that is typing on the computer or listening right now. You are not those eyes on that body looking at Ekta right now. But you are the one who's witnessing the eyes looking at Ekta. You are the one who is witnessing the sound heard coming from Ekta into the ears of this body and processed by the brain. You are just the witness. This understanding becomes supremely clear to you that you are that witnessing consciousness, and only this body dies, that witnessing consciousness does not die. So, death cannot even touch you. So, death even cannot touch you. Nanak Bhakta Sada Vikas. O Nanak, remember this, that the devotees will always prosper, will always blossom in this bliss. How can you always blossom? If you attain contentment or you attain bliss, you've attained it. After you've attained it, what does it mean that there is constant blossoming? Just like we call this entire consciousness that has given birth to this entire creation, everything is born out of it, everything dies into it. But this consciousness is called the Brahman. And Brahman means ever expanding, infinitely expanding. This has been proved by science too, that the space is infinitely expanding. There is no end to it. That kind of vikas is what happens to one who attains that space, attains the void, attains the shunyata, attains the zero mind, attains the no mind. That no mind which is the witnessing consciousness itself, which is in the gap between two words, the gap in between two breaths. Just by listening and just by being here, devoid of self-talk, you can attain that isness, that shunyata right here. Yeah? But you have to work on it because of the bad habit of self-talk. You will have to give up your addiction first to become totally established in the void. And really, it is very easy while walking, while doing things in the house, while walking to the bus stop, driving the car. There is no need for talk, no need for external talk, and no need for internal talk either. These are the times when you can be with that shunyata. The strength of the shunyata in you is very low, the power is very low. The more you stay in shunyata, its power becomes bigger and bigger and increases. You will have to work on being in this shunyata. It is very simple to get there. The difficult part is to maintain it. You will have to find a way to maintain it because only know your own mind. Nobody, not even your closest family member, can help you find the way around the gimmicks of your own mind, the gimmicks of your own ego. Only you can find that way around the gimmicks of your ego and mind and establish in that shunyata. When you get established there, then you will constantly blossom. Constantly, there is vigas. Yeah, the Hindi word is vikas. You will constantly flourish or blossom in that void or shunyata or bliss. सुनिए दुख पाप का नाश. This is very important to understand that dukh or pain or suffering is the fruit of paap or sin. Sages speak in code language. Yeah, you're supposed to understand it. The code here is that dukh is created by paap, and just by being in the shunya, this paap is destroyed. So obviously the dukha, which is the child of the paap, is destroyed. Suffering, which is the child of sin, is destroyed. So what does sin mean here? Sin means generating thoughts, generating emotions. Generating a thought, you get punished instantly by nature. There is restlessness, you feel all, even if it is good thoughts, happy thoughts. Think about your loved one. How long can you think about your loved one? Think about attachment, think about passion, think about lust. You like it so much, you want it so much, right? You think, and then see what happens inside. That turbulence begins, and then it becomes more and more and more, and there is this whirlpool inside, and soon it becomes a horrible cyclone, and you just want to get rid of the thoughts and emotions and the restlessness that you're feeling inside. The cyclone was the suffering, the dukh. Do you get it? The paap was the act of generating that first thought of passion, that first thought of love, that first thought of lust. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Yeah. It does not matter what the thought is, whether the thought is a positive thought of passion or love for your beloved, or if the thought is of greed or jealousy or hatred or some negativity. Do you see this? The moment you keep giving fuel to any kind of thought, it generates restlessness in you, and that restlessness takes over, and that itself is suffering. And then you try to sit with the cyclone going on. I'm going to meditate now. Are you going to be able to meditate? No, because you just started the gas. You only started the gas, and now you are only sitting on the fire and expecting that I'm going to feel very nice and cool. You're not going to feel nice and cool. You're going to feel fire on your butt. You started the fire. Wake up and see. This is paap. Generating thoughts itself is paap. Yeah. Just by touching shunyata, what happens? Shunyata is like that fire extinguisher. Everything just calms down, the fire goes off. Yes, everything settles down. You will have to find your own shunyata. It is not too far away from you. It is in between two thoughts. It is in the gap. You find that gap. The moment you establish yourself in that shunyata, in that silence, you will understand exactly how paap is destroyed and dukkha is destroyed just by the magic of shunyata, or rather the fire extinguisher of shunyata, or listening, or the zero mind. May you attain this shunyata in this very lifetime. सुनिए दुख पाप का नाश।